Hello there, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? So in tonight's video, which is of course an ASMR video to help you relax and fall asleep, we are going to be learning some facts about lots of different countries around the world. We're going to start off with this map here, which is one of time zones. There are a couple of peculiarities and really weird ones that I want to point out to you. And then we're going to move on to this one, which is physical comparisons. Coldest place, hottest, wettest, driest in the world. Highest peaks, deepest trenches in each continent. And then country comparisons with population, area. Yeah, that should be quite cool. So lots of little facts for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I love reading your comments, so thank you for all of those. I don't always get the chance to reply, but I do read as many as I can, so thank you ever so much. And a big welcome to those of you who join me on Patreon this month as well, quite a few of you. Okay, so I have the liberty of coming from Little Wales here, which, as you can see, because of the colour that they chose, this is 0. So this is because of Greenwich in London, Greenwich Mean Time. This is the prime meridian, and this is considered 0. And of course the complication with this is that the world is round, as we know. Yes, it is. And that means that there's no exact starting place for a new day. And as you get to the end of Asia and the beginning of North America, it gets a little bit weird. We're going to talk about that in a second, particularly this area here, and also this one. Okay, so we've got 0. Who's in that group? Curiously, Great Britain and Northern Ireland, plus the Republic of Ireland and Iceland, even though they could be in a different time zone to us if they wanted. And little old Portugal. Now, you might be thinking, well, hang on a minute, Spain is here. Why isn't Spain in the same time zone? And there's a really weird reason for that. It's because when the time zones were created, it was under Francisco Franco's regime, and he wanted to have the same time as in Nazi Germany. So that's why Spain, everyone, has a +1. The other +1s are France, Germany, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Poland, quite a lot of the Balkans, Italy, and lots of other places there, as well as Morocco, Algeria, and swathes of Western and Central Africa. However, in the section here of Western Africa, they are in the same time zone, as well as some of the islands. So, we've got 0, we've got +1. Let's consider for a second Greenland. Greenland, if you're not aware, is actually a part of the Kingdom of Denmark. It's an overseas territory, and the curious thing is it has 4 time zones. It's got one here, which is 0, one here, which is -1, but then it jumps to -3 for the central part, which is mostly glacier in the middle anyway, and then it goes to -4 over here. So yeah, how curious that it's 0 there but +1 there. I always find the weirdest examples ones that you don't expect. So, for example, India has a +5.5 time zone difference. So, possibly because New Delhi is right in the middle of the +5, and so they actually decided to go for a half past 5.5, rather than a full hour. Other examples of this are in Iran with 3.5, Afghanistan with 4.5, Central Australia with 9.5, and over here, which I think is Newfoundland in Canada, 3.5, -3.5. Which leads me on nicely to talking about countries which have multiple time zones within themselves. Examples of this are obviously Russia, Canada, the US, Brazil, and Australia. We'll talk about China in a second because that's probably the most surprising one. Okay, I'll start with Canada. Newfoundland, then we've got Atlantic time, -4, Eastern, which is -5, Central, which is -6, and then this blew my mind, Mountain is -7, Pacific is -8, but, and don't get me wrong, there's obviously the curvature of the Earth here, but you could go further west in the Mountain time zone of Canada, and it's not, Pacific is only up to there, so you could be there an hour earlier than here, people in the same north to south, so that's confusing. And then you got the states, so the states have got 4, you got Eastern, I guess, where does it say? It just says time, it doesn't actually say like these ones, Central, Mountain. Off the top of my head I'm going to say Eastern, one of these is like Central, is this like, is it called the mountainous or rocky or something like that, and then Western. So 8, 7, 6, 5. So that's the US. It's got 4 because it's quite both a large country and also sort of geographically long. Sorry, not long, wide. Whereas Brazil is a similar landmass, but it's longer, and so it only has 2, -3 and -4. Argentina has -3, whereas Chile, the other side of the Andes, has a -4. Let's talk about this. I read something recently, I think it was in my Strange Borders, Unusual Borders video. I think this is the set of islands here that was mentioned. So we can see that this is the time border. So in Alaska it would be Sunday, and just literally there, this is the edge of Russia, and that would be Monday. So we go from a -9 to a +12, which in itself is quite weird. But also there's a set of islands here, one of which belongs to the US and the other to Russia, and apparently they're so close you can wave and see each other. Although apparently the I think one of them is abandoned now, I can't remember which one. And yeah, they're basically a day apart, so you can, it said you can look into the future if you are on, which one? This side, looking that way. That's Sunday, that's Monday. So you could look, and it would literally be the next day. How weird. We've also got the International Date Line, which encapsulates these areas here. So Tahiti is -10, whereas these islands here are +14. So when you're in the Pacific, you could literally go between one island and the other and be in a different day. You could actually technically travel to one and then back and travel back in time. Actually, a similar thing happened. I went to New Zealand, and when we flew out, we went via Dubai, and we flew out to New Zealand, and we lost an entire day. Not just because it was about, oh god, I can't even remember how many hours in the air it was, loads, but because as we did, the day was the next day when we arrived anyway. But then when we flew back, we sort of didn't lose that much time, because when you fly back, okay, say it takes like 15 hours or whatever, but then it's only about 15 hours later anyway, so you kind of leave the time, sorry, you arrive the time that you left. It's a bit weird, I'm not explaining it very well. So yeah, weirdness. Okay, Russia, talking about weirdness, has multiple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is incredible. Starting with +3 from Greenwich Mean Time. You have these 2, 3, 4 strange little +4s. This here is Kazakhstan, but then the bit above it in Russia with Omsk is a +6. Then it goes to +7, +8, +9, +10, which is split. 11 and then 12. That's incredible. When you think about it, it's lunchtime in Moscow. 3, 12, 6 hours later, so it's 6 o'clock in the evening over here. And then you got Oz with 3 different ones, +10, +9.5, and +8, which is also very curious. Not as curious as China. What do you notice about China? That's right, it's 1. Now, I would say, in terms of width, it's actually about the same or even slightly larger than the USA. And it's very comparable in that sense. However, we talked about the USA having 4 different time zones. China doesn't have any, it has 1 for the entire country. Which, on one hand, you could say, well, you know, it's uniform and it maybe joins the country a bit, but it's not helpful if you're over here and over here, and it's the same time, but you have to get up at 8 o'clock here, and it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, you know, Earth hours, different here. So if you got up at, say, 8 o'clock here, you could be getting up at what? 3? Is that how it works? Oh no, it's later. I'm just trying to work out if, so it depends. I think it's kind of run on, where is 8? So 8 is around Beijing. So they're all clocked on Beijing time. So you get up for work at, say, 8 o'clock in Beijing, but it'll still be dark over here in this area. But it'll get dark earlier over here. Yes, very odd that the entire country is 1. Maybe you disagree with me. Let me know in the comment section. So that is a little bit of a grip on time zones. Let's take a look then at, these are the physical comparisons. We can see this lovely picture of the Earth here, and this is a more topographical one, not a political one, so you can't see the countries as such, but you can just see the mountains instead. And that's advantageous because that's what we're going to talk about. So physical comparisons, we've got Asia, Africa, North America, South Antarctica, Europe and Oceania at the bottom. So they are arranged in order of areas, the land mass. So Asia being the largest and Oceania being the smallest, 44,500 kilometers. compared to 8,557 kilometers in Oceania. Curiously, of course, Europe is the second smallest, even smaller than Antarctica. Just to rub it in. So I do sometimes wonder what would have happened had Antarctica not the continental shift, the tectonic plate moving it down. What would have happened? Because of course it was up here at one point and would have had life living on it. So yeah, it would have been interesting to know. You know, had it been over here in the Pacific Ocean, what sort of history, world history would have happened? What different types of animals we would have had? Anyway, coldest place in each. Russia wins, I think. Yeah, Russia is... Oh no, it's not as bad as Antarctica, obviously. Oymyakon is -70, whereas Vostok in Antarctica is -89. Oceania -22 in Australia is the coldest. Snag in Yukon is -63, I'm guessing that's Alaska. Ifren, -24 in Morocco, I think that's in the Atlas Mountains, I guess, where you can go skiing. Sarmiento in Argentina, -33, and Ust-Shchugor in Russia, -55 in Europe. So you can see that Russia gets European and Asian. Hottest places, we've got Tirat Zevi in Israel, 54, Kebili in Tunisia, 55, Death Valley, California, 57, Rivadavia in Argentina, so Argentina winning for hottest and coldest, 49 degrees Celsius. I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, sorry. Vanda Station in Antarctica can get up to 15. That must be in the summertime, obviously. Seville in Spain, 50, hottest in Europe. And Oud Nadata, Australia, +51. Wettest, we've got India, Mausinram, with 11,000 millimeters of rain in a year. Debunsha in Cameroon, 10,000. Henderson Lake, Canada, 6,000. Quibdó in Colombia, 8,000. Technically it doesn't rain in Antarctica, so nothing for there. Čukvice in Montenegro, 4,000. And Tully in Australia with 4,000. So yeah, India with a lot more. Driest place is going to have to be Australia, yes. Oh my god. So average rainfall in millimeters, so that is incredible. Wadi Haifa in Sudan only gets 2 millimeters of rain a year. Oh, in this 1 year it only got 2. Oh, that's even worse. Quixagua in Chile, 0.6. Less than 1. Wow. Bataques in Mexico, 30. Aden in Yemen, 46. Technically, I don't know how they do Antarctica. Technically it's a desert because it doesn't rain, but equally it's not a dry desert because it snows, so I don't know. Astrakhan in Russia, 160, and Mulka in Australia, 100. Okay, let's move on to the largest seas. The Pacific is right at the top here, 165,000 kilometers squared, followed by the Atlantic. The Indian Ocean's nearly as big as the Atlantic, though, which I had no idea about. The others are pretty small. Largest lakes, which is the largest? Caspian Sea, 424 kilometers, or 424,000 kilometers squared. I would think so. Lake Superior, 82. Can that be beaten? No. So Lake Superior in Africa. Lake Victoria in North America. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, these are not in. These are just in any order now. Lake Huron is also North America. Lake Michigan is. So these are just. Oh, okay. So it's not continents anymore. So because of the Caspian Sea, yeah, okay, so that's not in Asia. Lake Superior, Lake Victoria in Africa, Lake Huron in North America, Lake Tanganyika, Baikal, the Great Bear, Lake Malawi, and the Great Slave Lake. Yeah, so these are Africans. Okay, world's longest rivers, the Nile, of course, is number 1. The Amazon is number 2, I always say that. The Yangtze in China is the 3rd. The Mississippi, Missouri is the 4th. Yenisei, Angara, Huangho, Ob Irtish, the Congo, the Mekong, and the Amur. That's the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I found this one quite funny when I spotted one of the answers. World's largest island, so Greenland is the largest. New Guinea, now I'm supposing that they're not including Australia because it's also a continent, so Australia would obviously be the largest. New Guinea the 2nd, Borneo the 3rd, Madagascar, Baffin Island, I don't even know where that is, Sumatra, Honshu, so Sumatra, Borneo, part of Indonesia, Honshu is part of Japan, Great Britain, so I live on one of the largest islands in the world, Victoria and Ellesmere. High peaks, obviously the Himalayas is 1st. Karakoram Ra is 2nd, K2, okay, yeah, so also in the same mountain range. Pamirs, Tian Shan, the Andes, the Rocky Mountains. East Africa, Kilimanjaro is only like 7th, 6th or 7th. Caucasus, Mount Elbrus. Antarctica, Vinson Massif, and the Alps Mont Blanc. So that's down in 10th. And then the deepest trench is the Mariana Trench, was pretty famous. That is 11,000 meters deep, so it's actually deeper than Mount Everest is tall. And in fact, I think this is the weird fact about Everest, it's not the tallest mountain if you include mountains that start in the sea, because Mount Everest starts on land, so it's only 8,000 meters from land, and that's how you measure this. But if you measured the mountain which started in the sea, there are some others that are larger than Mount Everest, but I can't name them. Maybe put them in the comment section if you know what I'm talking about. The Tonga Trench, the Japan, the Kuril, the Mindanao, the Kermadec, the Bougainville, Milwaukee, South Sandwich Trench, and the Aleutian Trench. Okay, and then we look at this political map with all of the countries coloured in. So now we have country comparisons. This confused me at first. I don't know why they did it this way, but this is population in thousands, according to a 2021 estimate. So this has got down China as 1,397,000. So yeah, add 3 zeros basically for 1,000. So 1,397,000 being 3 years old. This is very out of date as India's now moved past China, as I've said a couple of times in my videos this year. So it was 1,300,000, now it's something like 1,400,000. Sorry, 400 million, yeah. Okay, United States is in 3rd with 334 million. I know it says 1,000, but you times it by 1,000. Indonesia is next, which might surprise quite a lot of people. 4th largest population on the planet, 275 million. Pakistan is 5th with 238 million. Nigeria is next with 219 million, which comes in ahead of Brazil, 213 million. Bangladesh, in terms of landmass, way smaller than the others, but a really densely populated country, 164 million. Russia, which is massive, the largest country on earth, but is only in like number 9, 142 million, and Mexico is there with 130 million. Next up you've got Japan, 124 million, incredible considering it's just a small group of islands. Ethiopia, 110 million, the second largest country in Africa. Philippines with 110 million. Egypt with 106 million, the third largest in Africa. And then Congo 105 million. Vietnam with 102 million. Iran 85 million. Turkey 82 million. Germany is the top. It's difficult to work out how many of the Russians live in the European side of Russia. So of outrightly European countries, Germany is top with 79 million. Also, some people consider Turkey to be part of Europe, but technically it's Asia. Thailand is next with 69 million. France is second in Europe, 68 million. The UK is third with 66 million, and Italy with 62. So a bunch of European countries there. Next up is Tanzania. Well, actually, if you think the United Kingdom is way smaller, half the size in landmass of France, I think this probably includes the overseas territories for France as well. Tanzania 62 million, Myanmar with 57, South Africa with 56, Kenya with 54, South Korea with 51 million, Colombia with 50 million, I didn't actually realise that, and Spain with 47, so there are more Spanish-speaking people in Colombia than in Spain, and way more in Mexico, which is officially the largest Spanish-speaking country in the world. I've mentioned this before, but because Indonesia, apart from Bali, is a Muslim country, Indonesia is actually the largest Muslim country in the world. Pakistan would be second, so neither of which are countries, Arab countries or countries which speak Arabic as their native language. That would be Egypt, would be top there. Sudan is next, 46 million, Argentina 45, Uganda 44, Ukraine with 43. So Ukraine is something like 5th or 6th largest in Europe, which means that Ukrainian, the language, is one of the most spoken languages in Europe as well. Algeria 43, Iraq 39, Poland 38, Canada 37, compared to its relative size. Poland with 323,000 kilometers squared, but Canada with, would that be, I can't do my maths, 9,971 times by 1,000, whatever that is. Afghanistan is next, 37, Morocco with 36. Saudi Arabia, which lots of people mistakenly think is a highly populated country, possibly due to its land mass. It's relatively small in that sense, 34 million, Angola 33, Malaysia 33 as well, Ghana 32, Peru 32, Mozambique 30, Uzbekistan 30 million, Nepal 30 million, Yemen 30, Venezuela 29. And then we've got lots of African countries. We've got Cameroon 28, Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire 28, Madagascar 27, that's the island. North Korea 25, Australia 25, Niger 23, Taiwan 23. I hope everyone's okay. Obviously they've had an earthquake today. Sri Lanka 23 million, Burkina Faso 21, and Romania with 21. Again, making it fairly close to the top of Europe, Romania. Syria next with 20 million, Malawi with 20, Mali with 20, Kazakhstan with 19, Zambia 19, Chile 18 million, Guatemala 17, Chad with 17, good old Chad, we love Chad on this channel, Netherlands 17 million, which when you consider how tiny it is, 42,000 kilometers squared, with a population of 17, is one of the most densely populated countries in Europe. Cambodia 17 million, Ecuador 17, Senegal 16, Zimbabwe 14, Benin 13, Rwanda 12, Guinea 12, Burundi 12, Somalia 12, Tunisia 11, and Belgium again, small country but with a relatively large population, 11 million. And then to the last two columns, Bolivia with 11, Haiti with 11, Cuba with 11, South Sudan one of the newest countries in the world with 10 million. Jordan with 10 million. Czechia with 10 million. Dominican Republic 10. Greece with 10 million. I mentioned this, I got the number completely wrong. I think I said there was 5 million living in Greece, but it still surprised me that the birthplace of democracy and all those different things is a relatively small country within Europe in comparison to, say, its neighbours. Italy, for example. To compare, a country much smaller than it, Azerbaijan, has got nearly as many, 10 million. Portugal with 10 million, Sweden also with 10 million, however it still makes it the largest populated of the Nordic countries, by a long way in fact, almost double. UAE with 9 million, I wonder how many of those are not born in the UAE. Hungary 9 million, Belarus 9 million, Honduras 9 million, Tajikistan 8, Austria with 8, Israel with 8, Switzerland with 8, and Togo with 8. Just trying to look for the smallest country by landmass. Is there one smaller than Israel with 21,000 kilometers squared? 21, let's look. Can't see one off the top of my head. Some of these countries are massive. 21. I think it might. I'll check the Netherlands again. Where's the Netherlands? 42. Yeah, I think 26 for Rwanda, 28 for Haiti. I think in terms of landmass, Israel is the most densely populated one for its size. Well, I hope that was interesting, informative, fun, but most of all relaxing. And do subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video. We do this every week. Something new and enjoyable, relaxing, educational. And give this video a like if you enjoyed it and you're still awake. Hopefully you're not. And as with quite a few people have in the last month, join me on Patreon if you want to support the channel directly. I'm not fussy. All of the tiers get the same perks, so you can just join the lowest one and get an extra exclusive map video every month, and a second one which is a little ramble video of me just talking to camera and giving you an update about what's going on. I was ill last month, so this month there's going to be 2 exclusive videos on Patreon, so definitely join up. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again really, really soon. Thank you. Thanks in advance for your comments.